believe that I have to go buy furniture myself in the city. And what's the point of this tote bag? I can't carry anything in here! Plus I'm taking the train. How the heck does Mech expect me to bring furniture home? The front door doesn't even open. Let's see, so I just take the first left, keep going straight. Alright. Guess I'm lost.
I want you to imagine going back in time to a specific moment of your past, be it gloomy, uplifting, tiring, or even boring. There's a slight distortion of clarity due to the age, and also faint background noise that describes the environment. A mellow, rhythmic, yet humanized drum loop in the background holds the moment on repeat. Overall, kindling a feeling that's commonly described as nostalgia. This genre of music is dubbed Lofi Hip Hop. Lo-fi is an abbreviation for low fidelity, which simply means low quality. This in itself creates the aesthetic of the genre. Its DIY approach to making music creates an unprofessionally made sound, which in turn sounds more cozy and comforting. Some may find it more favorable and authentic than high-budget modern music like pop or trap music. A direct definition of lo-fi hip-hop would be a nostalgic, broken-down sample layered over a very simple yet offbeat and human-sounding drum loop. Of course, this may not be true to define all lo-fi hip-hop tracks. Lo-fi producer STLNDRMS also talked about it on an interview, calling lo-fi an umbrella term. Similarly to how I've narrated the feelings evoked from this kind of music, lo-fi hip-hop is more about the mood, the vibe, more so than about the genre. misteramazing did a video describing lo-fi hip-hop as being in the moment, and I couldn't describe it any better. The term nostalgia itself is synonymous with lo-fi, and this idea has allowed for the sound to be influenced by whatever particular memory and feelings it's trying to revisit. Better than just describing it to you, I'll play some of my favorites.
What do I call you? Do you have a name?
Yes, Samantha.
I think you get it by now. Despite the genre sprouting and growing almost entirely on the internet, it's difficult to pinpoint and put together a concise and logical order of events of lo-fi hip-hop's origins, which is exactly what we're going to do in this video.
Alright, if I just retrace my steps, I'm pretty sure I'll end up at the shop I'm looking for. Where the heck am I now? Well, imagine seeing you two here.
Like previously mentioned, lo-fi hip-hop has a very disorganized past, with various elements influencing the start of the genre, from jazz to video games. However, a few have had major contributions to the evolution of the genre. And to make things easier, let's go back to the beginning of hip-hop. It is the early 90s, just when hip-hop is about to reach its golden age. For the most part, large name artists at the time had the equipment and technology needed to record and produce music. The counterparts to this were come-up artists that didn't have the money or the quality equipment and had to make do with whatever they had available. Discussion in the lo-fi hip-hop subreddit even mentioned early hip-hop production to be made this way. One such example of this is RZA's production of the Wu-Tang Clan's debut album, Enter the 36 Chambers. Another thing to note is the sampling of audio clips from kung fu films. Although these techniques are widely used in lo-fi hip-hop today, it wasn't considered a large innovation to the larger audience at the time. Nonetheless, the classic sound of hip-hop in the 90s is still an influence to most. As hip-hop proceeds through its golden era in the 2000s, a larger medium comes in, which may be the largest influence of lo-fi hip-hop producers. Enter Adult Swim. Adult Swim is an American nighttime television programming block on Cartoon Network that launched in 2001. It focused on a more mature target demographic and featured shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. But we're not going to look at the shows, we're going to look at something better. Commercials, or bumpers as they called it. Adult Swim is notorious for their humorous and chilled out bumpers, yet also being extremely simple with it. Take a look at this and tell me this is not lo-fi hip-hop. Like, bro, it's just a nice picture with music in the background. But it works. This impactful method actually created something memorable for the audience watching at the time, who were mostly teens and preteens. Ryan Celsius, a lo-fi hip-hop channel on YouTube, explained on a Vice article on how the kids who used to watch Adult Swim commercials are now mostly in their 20s and are looking to hear the sound again. They want to feel the nostalgia, which is also a good speculation on why lo-fi hip-hop blew up around 2016 to 2018. Adult Swim's senior vice president and co-founder Jason DeMarco talked about lo-fi hip-hop on an article on okayplayer. A lot of people's memories of this music they associate with our commercials. We wanted people to feel like they're chilling with us, that even when you're having to watch commercials, it's a relaxing and chill experience. This would mean that the reach of Adult Swim had crafted the tastes of almost an entire generation towards the sound, also influencing some to replicate the sound and become beat producers. Most of the producers who made the music to the bumpers were mostly unknown at the time, but names include Flying Lotus, Debris, Oh No, and many more. It was also around this time where producers Madlib and J Dilla, who were considered by some the pioneers of the sound, are most relevant in the scene. In fact, Jason DeMarco is also a big fan of J Dilla, as shown in the same article. They even had several bumpers with Dilla's music featured in, and even a bumper dedicated entirely to him. For those who don't know, J Dilla and Madlib produces beats almost similar to lo-fi hip-hop you would hear today. J Dilla is known for turning off his quantization on his beat machine, making his drum loop sound more human and less robotic. Madlib, known for somehow making beats just really fast. He made over 100 beats in less than a month. The way he made beats is reminiscent of how lo-fi hip-hop beats are made. Fast and simple. He uses very minimal equipment at that too. He was also known for working with the rapper MF Doom, combining to create some of the most smoothest sounding tracks, vocally and instrumentally. Now, back on the topic of Adult Swim, although most of their shows were Western cartoons, Cartoon Network also had an older programming block that played Japanese anime. Toonami is an anime programming block that filled the then growing demand for anime in the United States. Like Adult Swim, introduced an entire generation of kids to the Japanese subculture. Getting the Robot covered Toonami in more detail, you can check it out. At the time, Toonami had their own mature block called Midnight Run, showing action anime and cartoons, which was the precursor to Adult Swim. A lot of the anime references and aesthetics we see today come from a lot of old school 90s to 2000s anime, such as My Neighbor Totoro and Sailor Moon. The most famous being the original face of Lofi Hip Hop was a studying anime girl, Yuki, from the film Wolf Children, who was later taken down for copyright issues and replaced with these two lot, but this anime girl has solidified the Japanese anime aesthetic in lo-fi hip-hop. STLNDRMS, the guy I mentioned in the beginning of this video, also briefly explained how there was a parallel to beatmakers and anime watchers. Another thing to note was the prominence of the anime Samurai Champloo that took place in feudal Japan with hip-hop elements peppered in. The soundtrack to which was made by the legendary Japanese producer Nujabes, who was also relevant at this time. He had introduced a more Japanese take on hip-hop, something more smooth and jazzy to a large part of the Western world at the time. This can be heard in tracks such as Orarian Dance and Feather. Also, while I'm writing the script to this, a fan live action of Samurai Champloo mixed with Afro Samurai was made. They even had the rapper Shin Otu, who worked with Nujabes on the original, and looks pretty cool. I recommend you guys check it out. And before this, there was also a Minmi tribute to Samurai Champloo, the ending song of the anime, Shiki no Uta. I recommend you guys check that out as well. So let's cut to commercial break.
So I got lost, and I don't really know how to get to Daisuke to buy my furniture. Whoa! What the heck just happened? Oh, Daisuke, it's right here. Did you guys transport me here? Thanks, guys.
We are now in the era of 2016, when the commentary community is starting to go chaotic. These guys show up on Double XL, these guys are going big, and yeah. It was also when Lofi Hip Hop is about to debut. A few channels that we probably know by now are Chill Hop, Chill Cow, and College Music. Chill Cow and College Music had started their channels around this time, but Chill Hop had been around for a long time. They all act as promotion channels, releasing tracks from various artists and also creating compilations. Of course, around this time, Lofi Hip Hop had already surfaced, albeit not known as mainstream yet, with new artists who were inspired by their predecessors. One name that comes up often during discussions of Lofi Hip Hop, Beside You, where in an interview he talked about his inspirations. It was also in 2016 when YouTuber Frank Jeff C released a video called How to Nujabes J Dilla beat, which I did remember watching around the time it came out. He basically showed how simple it was to create a Lofi Hip Hop beat, like bruh, as speculated by AnyTuber DigiPro in his own video about Lofi Hip Hop. This tutorial video may have contributed to the sudden surge of Lofi Hip Hop music on YouTube the following year, 2017. Lofi Hip Hop exploded on YouTube. The three channels I previously mentioned all had 24/7 radio live streams and loads of people listening at any given time. Although it wasn't very clear who was the first to coin the term lo-fi, but it all seemed to have sprouted simultaneously. Newer lo-fi channels came to light, the ones I think we all get recommended a lot. Miyuki, Lofi, which is now rebranded because of YouTube, I don't know, Ambition, and my favorite, Cyros. Mixes of songs are compiled according to their mood and titled accordingly, with something along the lines of, sometimes the hardest part isn't letting go, but rather learning to start over, or things that make me smile, or by the way, I feel bad, I never asked how your love life is going. And this is where I discovered most of the artists I know today. Accompanying these videos were usually gifs of anime or cartoons that portrayed melancholy or sometimes even happiness. The alternative to these were still drawings. Visual artists like beat producers tried to replicate the aesthetic and feelings of lo-fi in their art, leading to a new medium of lo-fi hip-hop. This was also the time where lo-fi evolved with the addition of vocals. Since it has roots to hip-hop, it is almost inevitable for rap to integrate. It has sprouted almost a separate style of rapping to suit the nostalgic feelings. Love Sad Kid, Atlas, and Samsa all have a nerdy tone to it. Of course, the style is not limited to just rapping. We have vocalists like Momtoon and Shiki. Of course, I could trace Lofi Hip Hop to its more outlandish precursors such as Vaporwave and Synthwave. What they have in common is their entire growth as a genre on the internet and the concept of nostalgia. What sets Lo-Fi apart is its closer roots to hip hop and what seems like a greater reception to the public. Another trait that Lo-Fi Hip Hop has is the ability to nicely fuse nostalgic elements together. As seen and heard from nostalgia from anime, Lo-Fi Hip Hop can also evoke nostalgia from other mediums, cartoons, jazz, video games, and so on. A common thing to see on YouTube is a classic anime or video game soundtrack lo-fi remixed. My favorite probably of all time would be Minecraft lo-fi. Fortnite kids will not understand. I personally have a very close affinity to this genre because I've been listening to it since almost before its takeover on YouTube, even before I knew it was called lo-fi. I simply just called it chill hop, which was basically the same thing. The aesthetics and mood is what I try to integrate in most of my work. This series has its visuals taken directly from lo-fi. So there you have it, the origins of Lofi Hip Hop. Oh, hey Glayce, brought some friends with you?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's nice. You guys wanna come in and chill with us? I've made some tea.